The following is a production of the 2- and 4-year communication programs offered at SUNY Cobleskill. It's another edition of the things happening on campus that you didn't know about, but probably should podcast. I'm your host, Chris Parlato. Hang out with us for a little bit. Hi, and welcome back to our 7th edition of Things Happening on Campus That You Didn't Know About But Probably Should. I'm your host, Chris Parlato. Today, I have with me my guest, who is a student here at SUNY Cobleskill, Daniel Jaffin, who's involved with many different things on campus, including the agricultural engineering department and the athletic department. Thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.
So what brought you to SUNY Cobleskill? What made you want to come here?
Really, it started when I was looking at colleges that had diesel tech. My mom found a college, SUNY Cobleskill. She found that I had diesel tech, so she had me look at it. I got really interested in the college by looking at all of the ag engineering pictures, and then I scheduled a college visit, and then it really went from there.
So that's really cool that you said they have diesel tech, and I know that they have a lot of different things at this campus, other majors and other programs that aren't really offered at other schools. And I know that the Ag Eng program is one of those things. I've seen some things in Curtis Mott. I'm sure you probably have classes there that I've seen a lot of like the equipment, like in the hallways and some of the classrooms they have like the tractors and stuff. Is that like a lot of things that you do, like working on the Ag Eng program? Do you work on the tractors?
So basically what we do for the labs is that we use dealership-sponsored heavy equipment, tractors, excavators, bulldozers. We use those to do labs. Also, to do diagnostics is for like electrohydraulics. Teacher would bug a machine electrically, and then us students would have to find out what the problem is and use our skills and knowledge that we attained from lecture and try to fix the issue.
So you work on all different types of equipment, like you mentioned. How is that? Are they very different from each other? Because I don't know anything about. Because I know you mentioned you're a car mechanic too, right?
Right. Yeah.
Is that do you do any of that, or is it mostly just like bigger machinery and equipment like that?
Usually, for the labs, we use heavy equipment. We don't do anything with cars.
So how is that different? Is it because like I said, you could say something and I don't know anything about like cars or anything about like engines or anything. Is that very different, like a car compared to like a tractor or something bigger, or is there a lot of similarities?
There are similarities and differences. Similarities are a car and the tractor are going to have an electrical system, the engine, the transmission. The big difference is a tractor is usually going to be, the newer tractors are going to be a little more complicated. So they're going to have more wires and more controllers. And also they're just going to be bigger. The size is the difference. Yeah.
So you said something about the newer tractors are going to be different than the older ones. How new are the tractors that they have on campus and some of the other equipment?
So the newest tractor is from John Deere. They have, it's an 310 horsepower tractor. It's goes for about $500,000. And I would say it was produced at least in the last 2 years. And that was a sponsorship from John Deere.
Oh, so that was like a donation that they gave it to the school?
I wouldn't say a donation, just more of like a lend.
Okay.
So they lend the tractors for the school for if there's a contract or just for the school year. And then that lets kids use brand new tractors. They do that so that way when students come out of SUNY Cobleskill and go into the dealerships, they're not going to be behind in working on tractors that are technologically advanced. So that gives them an early start in that career.
That's really cool. That's interesting. And you said it was that one tractor is worth about $500,000. So that's
quarter to $500,000, somewhere around there, depending on what options you get. But yeah, it's expensive.
So I could see how this would be a great opportunity to learn about all these different things, that it's not every day that you would get to work on something, especially like you mentioned, they have more like newer and updated equipment that you get to learn with all different types of machinery that you wouldn't normally have access to, that some things that are very expensive.
Right. No, I think it's just really cool that a bunch of sponsor dealerships give us equipment to work on. SUNY Cobleskill also does have their own equipment that they have in storage too that we use. So we get a ton of options for labs, and if you want to play around with heavy equipment, or you need a piece of equipment for one of your electro projects, they'll let you get it out and run it around the backfield. So I just think that's cool.
So is that, what did you say, electro projects? What is that exactly?
The class I'm taking is electro hydraulics. Taking it this fall. I'm doing a whole project. It's a research project on a compact track loader from Caterpillar. And it's a lot of work, but it's a pretty interesting project because I get to learn a lot about the machine itself, how everything works.
That's cool. And you mentioned the labs. So is the labs more of like the hands-on doing like the actual work?
Yeah.
And I've seen, because I was in Alumni Commons last year, and I remember seeing people driving the tractors around and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So is that like, where does that fit in? Is it like, do they also teach, is that part of the Ag Eng program where they teach you how to drive it? And they have like, is it like obstacle courses and things like that where you'll kind of like, I don't know if that's the right word for it or not.
So yes, for the obstacle courses too. There's a course called Construction Equipment Systems. Basically, that class allows you to learn the basics of heavy equipment, how it works, maintenance stuff you have to do to it, any adjustments. They do have an obstacle course that they will have you go through in one lab session. Lets you use various implement controls on it, like the blade. And for other labs, when they have you drive tractors up and down one of the access roads, you're doing a certain lab procedure, like a calibration, or just teaching you how to drive a particular tractor.
So I guess that's probably, besides, I know there's a lot involved that I haven't even really thought about until just now, that adding on like the extra equipment and stuff, that they have like the attachments that go on it and stuff for the different, to do different kinds of things around the farm. But even just driving it itself, I would imagine, is probably very different than driving a car or just a truck or something.
Yeah, I would say so. Most tractors do have steering wheel, obvious, and a skid steer, or an excavator. You're gonna have a joystick control to move the machine. So yeah, it's definitely different. But if you go down to the basics, heavy equipment and cars operate the same, just for the driving aspect.
So so what year are you in?
I'm a junior.
So this is your third year?
Yep.
So what kinds of things do you plan to do? Do you want to continue with like working on tractors and different kinds of equipment?
So after I graduate, I would like to get my foot in the heavy equipment dealers. That's going to be for the summer as an internship. And then after graduation, I want to be able to have a full-time position at a heavy equipment dealer. I want to start out as a diesel technician and work that for a few years, and then possibly look at advancing up to a management position or into sales.
That's really cool. So equipment dealer. So that would be like, would that be more like buying in bulk and then reselling equipment?
So basically what it is that, for example, Caterpillar, they produce the heavy equipment like excavators and bulldozers. Then they send it out to various dealerships. And then the dealerships have to sell those pieces of equipment to make profit for Caterpillar and for themselves too.
So is that brand Caterpillar, is that mostly kind of like construction equipment, or do they also make farm equipment?
For the most part, Caterpillar is a construction equipment manufacturer. They do have one tractor that's used for agricultural, but other than that, it's just construction equipment. John Deere produces ag equipment and construction equipment, but they're well known for their ag equipment.
Yeah, that's all. It's all really interesting, and it's important too. The construction aspect of it and the farming part, because with the agriculture program here, I think it's something people don't usually think about, especially in college. It's like, as far as at least that I knew, I don't know any other college that offers these kinds of things. So it's really cool that they have that here, and it's really important. Like with no farmers, there'd be no food.
Right.
So it's something people don't usually think about, but it's really important. And
yeah, what I like about the labs, and I could probably say for other labs and other majors, is that the school makes it as realistic as possible. So basically, they mimic you being at your actual job. So I find that really cool and helpful.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that, and I think at least for myself here in the communication program, I know there's a lot of hands-on classes, learning like first experience, like doing like kind of more like what you would do in your field, which is really interesting. That's really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for now that's really all I have. Thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah.
So I think that pretty much wraps up this edition of Things Happening on Campus that you didn't know about but probably should. I'm your host, Chris Parlato. We'll see you next time.